Hello everyone and welcome to another developer live stream. I am here today with two people. One of them you can't see yet. So we have Lars and we have Sven, who's he's hiding in the corner. And we are going to talk about some of the things that are coming for 5.0. So some of you already have seen the roadmap update, which is all the things that are coming for 5.0. And at the moment we want to split it a little bit, so we're going to talk about some of the map changes that we have done, some of the lighting changes, some of the time of day changes, and that will be the main topic for today's stream. And then next week, I know that's what you guys are mostly excited for, is going to be the AI stream, so no worries, it's coming. Too bright? Is it too bright? No, it's never too bright. So yeah, first we have Lars. Lars, introduce yourself. What do you do here?
I'm a lighting artist, and I'm with Crytek for about 3 years now, and yeah, going to talk a bit about the upcoming changes and features of 5.0.
Okay, awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Lars first, then we're going to switch to Sven, and then we're going to have a Q&A out the couch with everyone. So the Q&A will obviously be focused on the things that we're talking about today, no other things. I know that you guys would love to hear more about other things that are coming, but we're focusing on 5.0 and especially where these gentlemen are, specialized in. So yeah, what do you have for us first? I know that you're going to talk first about the implementations of the different times of day on both maps.
Yes. I mean, we had this coming for a long time, but took a bit longer than we expected. But finally, we now have all time of days in all maps. So we have now gold, foggy, neutral, and night. And so that means Stillwater Bayou is gonna have the neutral setting, and Lawson Delta is gonna have the foggy and gold setting.
And what is your favorite color? So, or like color time of day rather?
My favorite time of day, I think for me it would always was the night setting. But I mean, I worked on it for the longest time because it took us several new iterations to come up with the perfect amount of brightness, and it's still difficult, and people are still. I mean, it's really difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, some people might like it, some people might hate it. For some, it's too bright now, but. Yeah, so at the moment I'm pretty okay with it. I like it, and yeah. Apart from that, I mean, I like all of our settings. So.
That's the right answer. Okay, well, let's get into what we have here. So obviously this is daytime.
Yeah. It's now daytime in Stillwater Bayou. I made some nice screenshots, and yeah, I think the new time of days really fits the both maps. The neutral one also, I think it looks really good, and Stillwater, I mean, also this screenshot, yeah, it fits the mood. So I think it's
exactly.
a nice addition to gold, and yeah, when I look at other screenshots,
I always feel that daytime is like the day where it's like gonna start to rain. So I've never been.
You think so?
Yeah, it always looks like it looks very soon like to the Netherlands weather time. There's always clouds. It's always like some it is a bit blue, but there's just mainly a lot of clouds.
Okay.
Doesn't it I don't know, it's like it's gonna rain there. Golden is like, oh, this is nice. This is like a nice summer day, you know, where it's like a little bit warm still, but it's getting day or like nighttime.
Okay. I mean, I never had the feeling. I mean, for me it was more like really, really calm midday and night weather, some clouds, and yeah. But I think it really fit the mood of the map.
Yeah,
so,
definitely. And the shots look really, really good.
Thank you. This one, yeah. Also this one, yeah, just to see or to show some point of interest or some key compounds of the Stillwater, and yeah, I think it works really well. Also did
So what were like challenges that you had when changing and implementing a daytime for a different map?
with the neutral and with the neutral, gold, and foggy were kind of simple to implement, because it was basically, it wasn't of course not just copy and pasting things,
Yeah,
but it
obviously.
was okay. But I mean, most difficult was nighttime for Lost in Delta.
And why is it most difficult?
Because with neutral you don't have to. I mean, neutral was the only time of day that we had in Lawson, and you didn't have to take so much care of player leading, because you can see everything. You can see all the compounds, also from afar. And with night, it was challenging, so we had to really come up with how we want to lead the player from compound to compound, so that they're not lost in the fields,
but also
or lost.
still.
I also made a screenshot where I can show that. So I also always wanted to. So at the left side, okay, you can see the compound, which is highlighted also by fire with the light.
Have you added additional like fire or lighting sources during a nighttime map? Okay.
Yeah, so we really had to add some fire here and there, really just to bring the player into the right direction. And I mean, here for example, you can see in the distance there's again a light source that would say the player, okay, if I go in that direction, there will be something. There will be a compound. Also, we placed a lot of new lanterns at the roads and at the extraction points and the spawn points especially. So really, so that if you spawn, even in a really in a place where there's like no compound right away, you see, okay, in this and that direction there's a light source that I can see even if it's dark, and you can go straight ahead and then you hopefully find your way.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. So like, how many additional like lanterns have you placed?
That's a good question. No, I haven't. I didn't count it, but well, quite a lot.
So like those lanterns are still there in the regular daytime?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, everything stays for every time of day. So didn't want to separate it so that feel okay. There's a fire in the night, so why is there no fire in daytime or gold? So
they wanted to lead people to there. That must have been it.
Sure.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and we have also, I can show a video of the daytime.
Just ignore that. Just say no.
Daytime in Stillwater.
It directly becomes like a different area, like a different map. Like it directly feels very different.
Thanks. No, I really like it. Stefan, who also was in the
he did the live stream.
Yeah, he also was in the live stream. He did an amazing job on the whole neutral theme and the whole neutral time of day. So really good. Yeah, and we still have the bright and bloomy skies, the kind of overexposed sun, and still for me it works. I like it. I hope our players will also like it. They better like it now. No, it's okay.
He's walking through wood. How is this possible? So I also see that you had to work on some performance improvements.
Oh yeah.
For the daytimes. What does that entail?
I did a complete view distance pass on the on everything lighting related. So the light entities and the cube maps, fog volumes, and there was a lot of things that weren't quite performant at the time, so there was a lot to tweak, but I think now it really worked out. We also tweaked the fusee, because the fusee is quite expensive, which is normal, which is kind of okay-ish from a technical point of view, because it's a shadow casting omnilight, so it's dynamic. It casts in every direction, and but I tweaked the radius and
duration as well, right?
Dennis also tweaked the duration.
CJ mentioned it on stream when we were talking about the performance, that they have changed some about that.
So we tweaked it. I think it was from 10 to 5 minutes now. So it's still long, and also the radius, the tweak that I did. It's just that you can't. It doesn't go like all over the place, like for 20-30 meters, and you still have the effect that you had before. So you still have this super bright cone in the middle, and so I think it worked out pretty well, and not a huge downside, so it doesn't look like shit yet now. So
okay, and I see you have some fog photos of the Lost in Delta.
Yeah, so let's go to the.
I still think fog is maybe one of my favorites. I don't know. I really like golden because it looks like a nice day. Yeah.
Like no, also I really like the mood. So
it's just very mysterious, like the lingering mists.
Yeah. Also, Alex, one of our VFX guys, also did the nice fog particles in there.
Oh yeah.
That also took some time. So foggy took a bit longer than gold.
Yeah.
To be implemented.
That's also really nice.
No, I really like the mood. So it's so atmospheric and so really nice.
Yeah, it creates really nice pictures.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes like I see a picture, like someone sends a screenshot or something, and I'm like, wait, this is not real, because like especially when you see it a bit smaller, it's like this could actually be real life. But yeah, I know that we did, like when we talked about the lighting stream with Stefan. Where he also explained like how they got to the fog where it is right now, because it used to be quite different, and I know they see some people talk about rain. I know they also tried some stuff with rain, but like rain is unfortunately very difficult.
Rain is really difficult, yeah.
But I also think sound will be very difficult with rain.
Like that's one of the key downsides, because not downsides, but that's really difficult to set up, because I mean also
our game depends on sound.
Game depends on sound, and once you say okay, we get rain, you're gonna have sound for the different materials, the different for mud, for wood, for interiors, for exteriors, and you also need all kinds of different sounds for that. It would be super cool, but also super difficult.
Have you guys tested a bit with rain?
I tested a bit with rain, but only in a really simple way. So we have a rain entity in the editor that you can turn on, but it looks cool. I like it, but we have to see. It's difficult. So I don't want to get the expectations too high, because I don't know if we can deliver rain anytime soon or something. So.
Yeah, no worries. I know it's just something that gets discussed in general. So what are things that you've learned from Stillwater specifically that you've adjusted when working on Lost in Delta?
So with Stillwater, we had to set up a lot of new workflows that were completely new. So we had to come up with a way how we set up the interior lighting. So we just want to have one map, and we want to have all time of days in this one map, and then also want to be we wanted it to be as simple as possible. So I only want, if I have a light entity in an exterior, I just want to be like one light entity and not 5 light entities for every time of day.
Okay, yeah. Makes
So yeah, we have to come up with a system for that, so that the lights dynamically change depending on the time of day, and that took a long time, and yeah, I was when I started working on it and started working on Stillwater, I was also like super new in the field, and really had to learn a lot of stuff. But
what are like some of the biggest things you personally have learned from working on this? I don't know if that's maybe too technical to explain, but I have learned this.
I've learned this and I've learned that. No, I think the biggest things that I've learned is that you need to come up with a lot of iterations of one specific theme, because you set up a new setting that you have in mind for like 2 or 3 weeks, or it always takes some time. And you're super happy with it, and you really like it, and in your mind it looks amazing, and then you show it to people, or you have a playtest, and then it turns out that everyone hates it, and it happens from time to time. So I think it's good to always have different iterations, to have different approaches to every new setting. So I think that's what I learned. What was also good for with Lawson, with how we set up the lighting for the new map, is that it was a bit easier than with Stillwater, because there were some things in Stillwater that were things like underground areas.
Yeah.
So underground areas are super tricky, because we set up this areas, so it means that if you go into the underground area, everything, or into the this area, everything around you that is not inside of it gets colored, so it's not rendered anymore.
Yeah.
And it's really nice. It can give you performance, but it can also cause a lot of bugs. So we
because would the light just be specifically made for that area, I suppose?
Yeah, for example, and so it can create a lot of problems, and like things like light leaking. So you're in an underground area.
What does that mean?
You are in underground, and then for 1 second or something, the sunlight comes in like directly, even though you're in a cave. So it's difficult, and that was way easier in Lawson, because there's no underground.
Yeah. Simple as that.
Yeah, so that was that was really pretty straightforward. And
so does that still happen also with buildings, that you have the light leaking, I suppose? Or is it different?
No, we don't use this areas for buildings, because you need to have the option to look outside of it. So if another player comes, or so you have to see you're outside, even if you're in the building.
Yeah, true.
When you have a completely closed underground with 2 entrances, you can set it up quite good. So you then have some other technical stuff. You have portals that you can put into this area.
We have portals on our game.
Portals, and you can then see through the portals. Can look outside of this area.
That's cool.
Yeah, but it's no, but it's difficult to set up. But yeah, that was really nice. We don't have it in Lawson. Yeah. Lawson Delta.
Yes.
Yeah. So I also have. It was fog. I also have some screenshots of golden.
Yeah, golden is my favorite.
Golden is a favorite. Okay.
Yeah, it just looks like a nice summer day.
Yeah, I also wanted to capture some key compound of Lawson that are really showing that it's a new map, and it also works really well, especially with the I think it fits really good because of the whole theme with the grain fields.
Exactly, and then you expect that like
yeah.
someone sits on the porch.
Yeah.
I just envision it. It's there.
So there was another one, the town hall. So yeah, there's maybe someone sitting on the porch.
Yeah, I mean, I can pretty much imagine it.
Okay, and I also have one last video.
Yeah, here it's perfect with the grain fields.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
it's
like...
not gonna grow with the natural weather, obviously. It has to have some gold too. Yeah, no, it looks really good. I always love how the rays go through like the trees and such. It's just really, really nice. I mean, I think in general we get always a lot of compliments about like the lighting in Hunt because it just looks so nice.
Thank you very much.
So you guys are doing a good job.
Thanks. Yeah, so for me it also, even if it's a different map, I think it also works really well. Yeah.
Nice. And are there any times of day that you would like to see personally?
I have some things in mind, of course, and we also will
experimenting with
we're experimenting. I can't disclose too much
now,
now, so I can't tell any release or I can't tell any setting because it's not set in stone yet. But I think we are definitely coming up with some new night things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I think that was it for you, or do you have something else to share?
No,
now?
I think that was everything from my side.
Awesome. Now, thank you so much, Lars. We'll have him back in the end for the Q&A, so you can stick around or come back whenever you
want. I'll stick around.
Okay. He's gonna stick around. We're gonna quickly switch with people. It's gonna be a switcheroo, so we're gonna have Sven come sitting here, and Lars is gonna go. So
see you later.
Okay. Bye for now. There's no Dennis today. No. So now we are here with a new person. Lars has changed. It's called Sven.
Yeah.
He's quickly gonna set up some stuff. Tell me something about yourself.
About myself. So yeah, I'm a level designer at Crytek since 2007. Part of the Crisis team, working on Rise.
Long time ago.
So and then I had a chance to work on Hunt.
Yeah.
For a couple of years already, which is really great.
Nice.
Really enjoyed it so far. Yeah.
Awesome. Now,
so
let me see. So you have quite some things. So we're gonna talk a little bit about iterating on both maps, what changes we've made, also for both, because obviously we're still working on things on Stillwater Value to change. For example, camping is a big thing for you guys, as well as like some changes on Lost and Delton, because technically that map is still fairly new. So we have gathered feedback from you. And some other stuff that we're gonna take a look at, and some telemetry data that we haven't shown at all.
So exactly. So I mean, some of you might ask, so why are we still iterating on the maps, right? Obviously, one thing is we recently released a new game mode, and that obviously has some space requirements, and that's just the nature of it, right? And I mean, you already noticed that the towers are not so ideally, I mean, having the Wellspring owner sitting inside of them, and it's stuff like that. And obviously we have to adjust that, right? So, and that's the cool thing about the early access product compared to a box product, right? I mean, we are devs, right? For us, a level is never been finished, right? We have to stop at one point working on it, right? Someone tells you have to stop. But I mean, you still want to change it. But that's why it's so important for us to have the chance, right, doing that. And obviously we are listening to the community feedback, the social media channels. So if someone reports something, so we look at it. So maybe it's a subjective thing, but we have to put it in relation to other things, right?
Yeah, I mean,
So-
like, we also still sometimes get things where, oh, we found something that was floating, or
Yeah,
we
exactly.
have, like, found a little
Yeah, but that's
thing that-
more about the bugs, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes it's about, you know, the experience itself. So,
Yeah, no, definitely.
exactly.
Especially with camping. That's
Yeah.
probably the main thing that people have been
yeah.
talking about a lot.
Yeah, but I would like to give you a bit of background how we tackle, I mean, the better approach, which is making decisions based on data, right? We have an awesome tool which is called the heat map tool. It can visualize basically telemetry data. So we capture something around about 100 gigs uncompressed data a day. So, and the tool allows us to basically look into that day, right? So it's basically a snapshot of a day, and we
Yeah.
can analyze that. I mean, now I can maybe just open here one of the.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
bring it back.
So here we go.
Yeah.
So that data is a day old. Oh no, 2 days old. What is there in the background? I think what is that?
I think it's just company.
So. Windows has an issue visualizing that. So
Is that wrong?
No, it's better. So that basically looks a bit maybe psychedelic, but it's interesting data, right?
This is the brain.
Exactly. So that's a day, 11,000 sessions, 11,500 sessions, and I mean all the player movement on the entire map. So basically, it's an intensity map. So
Yeah,
each
so,
player
like, red,
basically
obviously.
creates a dot, and that basically highlights certain areas where players are moving. So classic bounty hunt so means if I zoom in here a little bit, so and we just point at something, you can easily say, so here's one of the extraction points, right, north of Puerto Rico, or the extraction points south of
Yeah.
Rotten and stuff like that. It looks kind of weird maybe, but I mean, especially if we
I
compare.
mean, it thinks it makes pretty sense for most people.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see how the players are traversing between the areas that
Especially like here, it's also nice to see like the little, you know, the walls and the
the
stuff.
walls, yeah. I mean, you clearly identify the shape, right, of the
Yeah.
compound, the crypt area, everything. But it's also interesting how we can point at areas which are not so
Visited or-
used, right?
Yeah.
So the open swamp area, for example, we get back to that topic maybe a bit later, but I mean, and it highlights the jetties, right? It's something like, I mean, a highway straight through the swamp, right? Which is kind of interesting. So yeah, that's just player movement, 1 day, 11,000 sessions. So then, I mean, let me...
So this is for regular bounty hunt. So this is
Regular
not for
bounty
quick
hunt.
play.
We compare it with quick play in a
Yeah.
second. So just, I mean,
I think you have to open it. Yeah, sometimes
Windows picture view, awesome tool. Can I not just
You can
click
just
next?
click all and then open them.
What? I would like to have them in order. The extraction points.
Yeah.
Not really a surprise, right? So classic bounty hunt mode, 12, am I right? Yeah, 12 extraction points right around the level border. And what we found here is that we have some blind spots, right? The upper right corner, north of Scupper, there, you know,
I mean, it makes sense.
It makes sense to add something in here, right? I mean, and since we changed here the fish farm area a little bit, there's also, you know, a nice little empty spot on the map. So does it work now?
Yeah,
now
there we
it
go.
works. Oh. Okay, so here, next thing, player kills, even more interesting, right? You can clearly see, I mean, each dot in here represents a killed player or a killed hunter. So I think plus 80,000 kills a day, so in those 11,000 sessions. So
It's really interesting to see how much they flock into certain combats. Like
Yeah.
it almost feels like here there's
Yeah.
more player kills
Yeah.
than considering like there or
yeah, but
even
it's still quite equally distributed because
Yeah,
even
yeah.
next to the border, right, you can still find some points because we have the extraction points here, right?
But that also probably is helpful when you're looking to see how many people kill each other near the near the spawn points.
Exactly. So I mean, everything. I mean, each killed player is basically a dot right on the map. I mean, I cannot differentiate if he was killed by right at the beginning, but because it's a snapshot of the entire day. What I could do is I could just get into that specific session and follow each player individually and track him down, what he did, where he was running, where he killed a grunt or whatever, right? Okay, that's basically...
Someone says it would be interesting to see all my death points over time. Let me know which areas to avoid. I wonder if you follow a player, if there's people that are like specifically dying at some areas. Like...
Yeah, I think, I have a next slide here. I think that one... does it work? It doesn't look.
It doesn't work.
Man. Okay, here. Something interesting. The players were damaged by grunts, right? Also quite interesting because you can clearly see in the interiors, right? Because obviously tight space, so it's always a bit risky. So at the chokes, so we have basically a high chance of getting a hit. Then I think that that's interesting here. I think that fella just was bleeding and running around. Yeah.
The weird, here's like a shorter one.
Yeah, it looks a bit like a scratch, Weird. Yeah. Then received damage by hellhounds. Now it gets interesting. Now it gets interesting, right? So basically here, that area around the family grave, right? Maybe not such a good place to go to. Or let's say there's a high chance, right?
It clearly says which ones have to be avoided. It's like more in the south that's like more hellhound free. So if you're afraid of hellhounds, definitely stuck to the south.
Yeah. So, and then let me just close some of the slides here.
The brains.
So, and then what have we here? The meathead. The meathead, obviously way better defender, right? He works really good as a gatekeeper, well known, the walkways next to the boathouse.
And how many circles would have to stack for red?
I don't really know. In this case, so I haven't. We have a value there how many events were tracked, but I can't really tell you from here.
Yeah, I was just curious. How many
we have to look into the specific data. I don't have the tool open here, so it's a bit performance heavy. Okay, and then the water devil, one of our friends. So where the water devil basically damaged the player, right?
Yeah.
So here the catfish area in the south, so well known for having a high presence of water devils. We changed that for 5.0 slightly, so I come to that a bit later. So because we changed the approach slightly there, so really good. River, right? Okay.
They can avoid it by going over the.
Maybe a fun fact next. So players damaged by the lying horse on the ground.
Damaged by the horse.
By the horse on the ground. Yeah. I think we had 90 tracked events within those 11,000 sessions. So interesting thing. Right?
How do people get what?
You just have to stand next to the dying horse, right? And then it kicks you. So
I've never been kicked. I didn't even know I could do that.
You can even die.
Lie.
I think I saw a Reddit post about that. Yeah.
I had no idea. That's actually really funny.
Yeah. I think the deadliest one seems to be in Deverant. But no surprise, right? It's the horse farm, right? It's a horse farm and it's the rebellion of the horse. Whatever. So...
no, they're not deaths. They're like hits, right? They're not per se deaths.
Not death. That was just about the hits. So now we can compare. That's basically a quick play now. Player movement on quick play. Let me just move that to the right side, and I reopen the player movement for classic mode. Let's just compare both. So what we clearly can identify as the extraction points, right? If you can see that there is there's high traffic around those, right?
But still, it seems that there's quite some extraction point traffic on the quick play.
Extraction point, what do you mean?
Or would that be the spot? Because that there's still. Oh no, wait, no, that's the spawn point.
On the right side we have quick play, right? I think just the nature of quick play is, most of the players are gravitating to the center of the map, right? So, and I think, in the classic bounty hunt, you can clearly see that the level boundary is way more in use as soon as the extraction points are important for the second beat or the third beat.
I'm surprised that there's still so many people dying also on the spawns with the quick play compared to spawns and bounty.
But I mean, yeah, but that's part of the escalation right at the beginning, right? So I mean, it could happen that someone is nearby. Yeah. Okay.
I wonder if people play more aggressive for that reason, being equipped. Like, I mean, I personally do that. Like, I know a lot of people are more like, because there's less risk, right?
Yeah.
You can easily go in, especially if you have a pretty good spawn weapon.
But I mean, what is really good? I think the Romero Talon is a bit OP right now. I mean, if you get that one, I think that's a safe bet. But it might be that we changed that.
If I spawn in with the Romero, I'm like, no. Yeah. Or like crossbow, I'm like, no. Silent pistol.
Yeah, just have to get used to it.
It doesn't do much damage, but it's nice because you can more silently take people out.
So here, I mean, one more, which is, I think, interesting for the quick play players. I mean, as we're talking about it, extractions. So where the wellspring was ended, exactly. So, and you can clearly see that, I mean, some of the compounds, at least in the center, are highlighted maybe a bit more often, or the intensity there is way higher. We already noticed that it's a problem of our region shrink right now, because there are less showdowns around the map in quick play.
Yeah.
So we want to tackle that. So the part of the problem is the region shrink itself, because most of the cases it includes one of the center areas, which is a problem by nature. The players are already in the center of the map, and you would just activate the wellspring there. No one would gravitate to the level boundary again, right? So, but we tackle that. So we have some ideas there for the next update that might change slightly. But what is interesting on the map, I mean, you can clearly see the problematic areas, right? Like the tower of the Blanchard Graves, right? Yeah. So, I mean, it's just deep red, that one point, and here the tower of Whitechapel.
Pretty much like any tower, any high place where it's hard to get to there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a camp spot. I mean, for Wellspring, right? Yeah. I mean, even if there are some ways of countering that, but
do you think that's tricky. Also because there's more more weapons and spawns for any loot for players to be on the compounds rather than around? Because like obviously I personally would go to a compound for the sake of like getting different weapons and getting more tools and such.
I think you would just pick one of the towers if you're well equipped, right? So I mean, if you have the right weapon, so then I mean it's a good starting point, to successfully bring it to that at one point. So, but we want to look at the changes we did in order to tackle the problems, right? First of all, I just want to highlight, how we are getting the data, right?
And why
exactly.
As well.
One more, maybe I think I found that one interesting as well. That player movement map is already a year old. So a year old. That's a pre-release, early access version of the test server. So I don't know, thousands of sessions, but and I mean, if I just move that one again to the right and I compare it with the player movement these days in the classic bounty hunt, it doesn't look it doesn't look so different. First, but you can clearly see.
More movement.
We introduced a new AI type, let's say it like that, right? The water devil.
Good point.
So in the swamp area, before the swamp was way more, it was a high traffic area. So, and now we have basically our highways, the walkways right through the swamp, and I think that's the main difference between both.
Yeah, you can see that in the north as well. Like it goes more naturally like this, whereas now it's like around.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, let's look at
the
changes.
Then look at the changes, exactly. So first of all, let's start with the camping issue. I think we already talked about that. The tower of Blanchett. No, healing water. Let's start with healing water, exactly. So that's the current state of the tower, right? So there's only one way from the outside to get up. It's the ladder. That's on the other side here. Now I just open it in the level editor to have it a bit interactive here. So what we changed, basically, we added in. We had one ladder setup on one side, right? But we thought, because just throwing something in the tower, even with the pitching trade, it's a bit tricky because it's very high, right? That's why we added a second exactly on the side. And I think it should be covered enough to just get up a bit, covered by objects, and then you have your safe spot here. You can basically watch out, get up again. Maybe some tools are spawning here, some oil lanterns, or exactly, and then you can throw it in. So that's basically one part of the pro.
Is there a reason also where you still have the protective? Someone could stand behind you, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, if you get up here, I think it's a fair point. Just if you made it up here in the classic mode or something like that, it's not just about exactly. So we always have to keep that in mind. It's not just about one game mode, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and then I think from the inside, we removed one of the floors. So before there was a floor in between, if you can remember. So it was a short ladder, a floor, and then the next one. And I think the second floor in here was a really well-known spot to hide.
Yep.
So we removed that one. So we extended the ladder a little bit, and I think it goes straight up into the tower. And good, obviously, the point down here is still, accessible from all sides. Yeah, and we removed all the cover from the planks. So if someone is moving up there, I think you can see them. Before there were some objects on the planks and a lot of places where you could easily hide, right? Just to tackle that issue. And with the bullet penetration, I think you can counter that now a little bit better. Okay, then
do you
let's
think
move
this is the most camped spot? I personally think this is.
I think then the next the other spot is the Blanchett Tower, right? So let's move over there and talk about the Blanchett Tower. There it is. Okay, Blanchett Tower. That one is a bit more tricky because obviously there are no ladders on the outside. What we did is we opened it a bit more, so on one side, so that basically the floor or the room in between is now a bit more exposed. Exactly. Yeah. So as a defender, let's call you can use it, to sit here, but I think, you can count on it. And then we did a similar formula. We removed all the objects from the planks just to highlight the guy up there a bit more. Right?
Is it harder also because the exterior doesn't lend itself as much as wood because of the nature of it?
Yeah, I think, that's more just a high tower, right? The other one has a platform around it, has more options to get up. That one is way more, a solid thing. Obviously no bullet penetration on the red brick walls and stuff like that, so that's a bit tricky. But I think, with those changes, let's see how it goes, but I think it should work way better. There's a lantern now up there, you can shoot it from the distance, set it on fire. All those small little details hopefully help to improve the gameplay around that tower. Okay, what else do we have on the list? Extraction points. We already talked about those, right? So
I thought we had this shown at some.
We had that right at the beginning, right? But they just marked the extraction points we added with 5.0, right? Because we had the empty spots. Right, and basically the pink ones are the new ones, and let me just quickly go through them. Mm-hmm. So basically we have one here in the northeast of Scupper. It's a really nice one. I like that one because that area here was always underused. So it was a bit of wasteland in the past. Now we have that interesting extraction point here. We rearranged the forest slightly, so have some nice opportunities for the interceptors. Left and right, the ring for the extraction itself is quite clean. Just a few cover objects here and there. I think it's a really nice fit into that thing. And overall, I have to say that spot is absolutely perfect because two flanking routes next to the boundaries, the risky route through the water. So I think that one is, a really good spot for an extraction, and it basically fills the gap over there. yeah, that's for that one. Let's move over to the fish farm. Sounds fish. Oh, what a beauty from that perspective. Ooh. Yeah. Okay. Where are we? Here. Next extraction point. Yeah, with I think 3.0 we moved the initial spawn position of the player a bit closer because it was kind of imbalanced. Now it's over there, so since then that space was again a bit underused. We added here now the extraction point again, so rearrange the forest around it, having some options for interceptors, but just a few. So, but that one is obviously, that path here especially is a bit more exposed.
What are all the yellow things exactly?
That basically just help us for us, right, in terms of placement,
yeah,
because
no,
if the extraction point, ducks are there as well, right?
The plastic ducks.
Yeah, the plastic. That's just a helper for us.
Yeah.
Right? It's an indicator that a duck could show up here, right?
Yeah.
And I mean the rings around the extraction itself are just helpers for us, that we know where the extraction zone is, where we have to retriangulate the navigation mesh if the vehicle is there and stuff like that. Just to explain.
Yeah.
It's more for us
just
in
couldn't
editing.
see it from here with why that's like maybe a light source, and it seemed already so weird in the water.
Yeah. Okay, and then I think the third one was, I mean, in the Cyprus area. I really like that one because, again, so that one reminds me a bit on Crisis now, having the that curvy beach thingy. So the extraction point itself is quite it's quite exposed in a way, but I mean we added some more terrain approaches, so we raised the terrain here, so rather than walking through the water,
which a lot of people don't like for obvious reasons.
Yeah, but I think that one here is a nice one. It's quite close to the compound, but at the same time it's dangerous to get there, right? You're absolutely exposed. So there might be, I guess, if I unhide the grayish white shapes are the water devil shapes. So exactly, and then if there's something on the way, I guess it's a risky route.
Yeah, I mean it still is kind of, considering you usually come from the compound.
Yeah.
You want to go as fast as straight as possible, but I think also for intercepting, having the how do you call it, like the name for that, like
the intersecting?
No, for the intercept, like what, a birch or dirge, like the thing that comes right over the water. What do you call the beach side?
The beach side.
Like, how do you call this? I'm looking for a word, but I can't come up with it.
For me, it's a path on land, so it's an approach. I don't know. I mean,
yes, it's also a path on land, but I think it has like a saying, like a dirge, or like,
I don't know.
Okay. Something comes right over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe let's switch to the changes of
sandbank. Yeah, that could be it.
Sandbank. Yeah, in a way, but it's overgrown, right? A sandbank by nature is sandbank. Whatever. Maybe we're drifting a bit into the details now. Whatever. Here. Let's move on to Lawson. Yeah.
Because which map I assume Lawson had the most changes.
Lawson, yes. Let's start with the bigger changes of the cover pass. So Lawson, I mean I think it's on the. Is it on the roadmap? Lawson on quickplay is on the.
Yeah, Lawson, you did not just spoil something.
Yeah.
No worries.
Okay,
Lawson is coming up quickly.
It's always a question, if you're allowed to talk about it. Lawson on
That's
quickplay.
Also very effective. Like, it's allowed to say that Lawson is on quickplay.
Yeah, no, it's out. No, Lawson on quickplay. We prepared everything, so it will be part of it. Obviously. Again, so it might be that we encounter some issues here or there. We try to solve a lot of problems already. But even for the classic bounty hunt, Lawson is different, right, in terms of the space itself. It's very more open, but I think in some of the areas, it's maybe a bit too open, especially if you're solo against duos. It's a bit tricky to just, hide somewhere. If they really want to, get you it's sometimes tricky to escape because I mean it's so exposed. Some areas are so open that I mean I like that. I like variety, and that's good. The new map. But some areas, I think, I mean, required a little bit of reshaping.
What was the most critical area in your opinion?
Exactly. I mean, I have it open here now, right? That's north of train station. So one of the shots, I mean, to the pointing in north direction. We changed that. I just show you yeah, exactly. So is it? Oh man. No, it's copying something again. Oh man, that picture view is just.
Also, I noticed that you're leaning quite to the right. So
okay,
you're not really...
but now I can toggle for some reason. That's interesting. Okay, so before, as you can see, I mean everything was quite exposed, right? I mean even the fence line in the distance, everything was
very open.
So very open. Now it disappeared. No. There it is.
Okay,
what we just did, I mean, we don't want to add massive structures of bushes, right? So I think that's not the nature of the map. But what we did, I mean, make it a little bit more bumpy, you know, added some bush lines in order to hide something, just that you have the chance if you get, you know, followed by or if someone is hunting you, that you have a chance to hide somewhere, to flank, which is another tactical approach, right?
Yeah.
And in some of the areas it was, I mean, if it's so open, everyone can just easily just pinpoint at you where you're moving. And I think, I mean, we had to provide some more options here and there. We fixed the most obvious areas. One of those were north of train station. So then I have it open in the editor as well. Maybe look at the editor. So here, I think that's I mean, how it looks in game from player perspective.
Yeah, it really looks.
No, having a tree line here.
Yeah.
If you're moving here, you don't feel completely exposed anymore. You know, it feels safer.
You have a better chance.
Yeah,
of going
exactly. Added some sheds here and there, some cover objects.
I remember playing with Sohinki and like we were having the same issue. That's like, oh, there's no cover and we wanted to get around, but it was too obvious that we were coming.
Yeah. Yo, the other thing, south of train station. Let me open that one. Bloop. That one, yeah, before was absolutely exposed, so that's basically next to the bakery. Yeah. What was it called? Sweetball. Sorry, Sweetball. No, sorry. Excuse me. I know the deaf names of the location.
So what is the deaf name of the location?
It's bakery.
It's bakery.
So
I like how it's like this name. This is what it is. It's the bakery.
Yeah. I mean, you never get used. Whatever. So and now we added again. So a bit more cover, some more bushes. You know, we don't want to add too much stuff, but you know, here and there, hiding the entrance to the train station a bit more, especially if you're. Let's just fly over there. Here we go. So yeah, that thing, because I mean it's, you know, the terrain goes down, and there was definitely the need of providing a bit more cover here and there. Yeah. So hiding stuff, having that line where you can move along, you know, to get to the other side.
That's the murderer right there. I see him laying on the floor,
the murderer,
kicking people since the late 90s.
Okay, then in addition to that, we the slopes here next to Arden. So we added some. Again, the river slopes were completely exposed, right? Players were running from the right side to the left side. You had the water devils in here. I mean, getting to Salter's Park, to the pig farm, I mean, it's kind of tricky run. So we, you know, just added more bushes, few control.
No.
It sounds simple, but you always have to keep in mind that, you know, we don't want to add too many. That's the wrong map.
No,
okay, so you have to be. Oh, come on.
Go away, horses.
So here. Basically, you know, provide options, right? So some areas it's exposed, you have some gaps in between where you can get through, you know, but at the same time some options to hide. I think we we did it carefully. Let's say it like that.
No worries. It was a joke.
Okay, and in addition to that, I mean, some more extraction points for Lawson as well. So we had some empty spots here. Let me just.
And you moved them, or you added additional?
They are new. We had 16 before, and now we have 19. So I think it's better for the replayability and randomization of the map, right? Doesn't mean that we have more within the session. It's still the set of 3, but we have more options, which is a good thing, I guess.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So,
and are there things, because I saw some people asking questions, like, are there more things that help for performance that you have worked on? Because obviously we're still doing more performance.
That was one of our high priority items, right, for 4.0 to optimize the asset side and how clean the level is, right? The nature of level, or the building a level, is that at one point you try something out, you have prototypes, and you have some stuff in the level
laying around.
So, and at one point you just have to strip out all that stuff which is definitely not needed anymore, and that's what we basically did. We optimized the level, checked for duplicated entities, optimized the placement, merged entities to still have this same experience, but a bit more efficient.
Yeah, makes sense. Nice.
Yeah, the extraction points, I mean, just maybe nice spot here, so solid structure.
It's
right
almost like he's riding out of town.
Yeah.
It's like the entrance of the village type thing.
Yeah. Looks nice. I think it would be a great spot, even for interceptors.
If we had actual things driving
that
away.
one here reminds me a bit on the still water bayou extractions, open field, some hay around it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we added one over here, which is, I think, the water one. So, boat. So it's south of Windy Run and Hemlock. And then one other extraction point next to Ironworks. It's Ironworks, yeah.
What is the work name?
No, it's Ironworks. It was Ironworks. It always was Ironworks. I really liked it. And that's an iconic view, right? Nice spot for an extraction.
Yeah, so that's actually curious, because at first you couldn't enter the lighthouse, right?
I mean, if you have the spawn point here, right? Or if you can get up there, right?
Yeah, but at first I could not go through the door.
At first? What do you mean? I mean, it's
like
I think it was initially over.
Yeah. But I don't know when we changed that, because originally I tried to get in and it just never let me enter the building.
Yeah, we had some white box assets in the map for a while, right? Because it was clearly still a beta test map,
but
right?
I don't know.
But,
I don't remember
since we replaced
when
all of the stuff, I think now it's accessible.
Yeah.
And I think 4.0.
Yeah, because I don't think we ever announced that. Because I remember someone was like,
the lighthouse is not
I can
accessible.
enter it. I mean, that's a crucial part.
Yeah.
You can actually go in the lighthouse.
No, I mean, it's good. I think it's a good spot. Let's see how it behaves in quickplay, right? First of all, you have to get there, but we have to see. So
Can't get there at all.
So
Can't
and then
get there.
I think recently posted. I mean, I encountered that issue as well in one of my quick play sessions. But I mean, our death trap. I think the old version of the hunting tower was just a death trap, in a way, because let's just.
So have you already adjusted the ones that you have here with the idea in mind that it will be?
I mean, before there was only one way of getting up, right? And then you were basically up there. Somebody threw a concertina downstairs, and I mean. Without a dynamic stick, I mean, there was no way out. So what we did is basically we made the let me try to maybe jump into game, or no, let's you can now basically vault out of the front window. So that's why we added that platform here to avoid falling right on the ground, getting the fall damage. So basically you fall onto the platform and then you can easily get out if there is the need of escaping to the front. In addition to that, we have the small little windows which can be opened on based on your needs now, because before it was always open. The moment we are thinking about, I mean, making the front plate interactive as well. So,
will that not make the thing too easy to camp if you close it? If you give them option that it's closed?
Yeah, but I mean, you clearly see that someone opens it, right? Before it was always, I mean, kind of.
Yeah, but I mean to get in, like, because if it's open, then you can actually like throw dynamite from all sides, right? Technically.
Yeah, you can, but
doesn't that give a better advantage to campers?
If you can close it, yeah, but
yeah.
I
mean, we will see in the day.
That's the current state, right? I've just said what we are currently thinking about. Was one of the ideas floating around, maybe making the front interactive. Maybe there might be a good reason of not doing that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it about level changes, right? Let me just. Yep, hunting tower. Yep.
Okay, then we're just gonna quickly move on to the couch, and we're gonna do some questions. Obviously, I'll get some questions along the way right now. So the next stream will be about our special AI, which is not the boss yet. The new boss is also coming, but we're coming with a new AI first. So think like Armored Hive, Meathead, something in that that group of special AI, and other questions we'll answer only about gameplay or game design, level design, and lighting and nature and times of day. So you guys can go to the couch. I'll come to the couch as well.
Ja.
Okay.
Ja.
Okay, so I'm gonna come over. It's just hard when you're doing this by yourself because there's one question that I just saw that I thought would be interesting because that was related for you. I had one question about level design. I'm just popping up my phone. Someone asked, any tips on how to enter the industry as a level designer with a strong portfolio?
You have to just apply somewhere, right?
I mean,
So,
yeah, that's.
I mean, if you have a strong portfolio, I think someone would notice that. So you just have to get in contact with us or.
Well, that is advice. Just apply.
Yeah, definitely. So why not? So I think we receive all those applications and we check them, and if there is a potential, then at least
Just send it out to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's actually interesting. I don't know if I think someone mentioned, but like something to do to make like the light more effective, like the flashlight.
Flashlight. Yeah, actually we at the moment are trying some things out that I can't, since it's not yet finished, and we might release something like really soon, but as I said, it's not set in stone yet and not fixed, so yeah, but people can probably look forward to something, because we also realized that no one uses a flashlight because it's especially in nighttime. It gives away your position, and you have no advantage over other players. So there's no huge benefit of using it. But we kind of want to bring the flashlight back into the game.
We want to make the flashlight great again.
Yeah.
Let me see. Lost and Delicate added bump cards. I think that's more a request than a proper question, but are there things that you would like to see added to the map that you have an idea for that could make the game different? As in, like, add some additional items or like a moving. I still really want to move cards. I want that card to ride out of town.
Right out of town. Maybe.
I mean, we had the idea of this kind of the train thing that you have to
how's it called in English?
Oh, where you have to.
Yeah, where we're
Ah,
standing
I
with two guys and
I
you have
don't know.
to.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That would be cool.
Unfortunately, the train tracks in Lawson are blocked by some resupply stations here and there. But initially, that was an idea. Yeah,
I mean, that would be really cool to have.
A traversal option, which quickly gets you from one side of the map to the other. Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Especially because you would have to still need two people to, obviously use the item.
Yeah.
So it's not really useful for quick play, but I do think it would be cool to have like your team traverse. Maybe we should bring that back. I mean,
I don't think that it would be so easy to set, but
let me see. Are you guys let's see. Do you think it should be right? Oh, well, Dark Side Booth is more a thing that we would have to discuss with, like, they can't really answer that. But do you take the Dark Side boost in consideration, I suppose, when working on anti-camping measures?
Anti-camping, I mean, the Dark Side boost, I mean, highlights the other players, right? First,
yeah.
But yeah, I think that was our way of trying to, avoid camping in the classic mode, and for the quick play, we flipped that in a way, right?
Yeah, it's given an advantage.
Yeah, for the interceptors, but I'm not really sure if we want to touch that right now. Right, because I think at the moment, at least for my side, I think it works quite well. But that's just my subjective
opinion. Yeah,
opinion
no, makes
that.
sense. In general, it's I think it's hard because a lot of people are always like, yes, we dislike camping, but if you think about it, it is part of the game. Like, we always wanted camping to be a valid strategy.
You can already see that if you compare both maps, right? So the Stillwater Bayou map is way more about hiding, sitting somewhere in the bushes. There are way more bush lines. There are so many options. You run around the corner and someone can just, sits there forever, right?
Yes.
At the same time, you can get easily ambushed from behind. The opposite is Lawson, and that's what I said with the variety, right? It's about, providing variety in terms of gameplay.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the good thing about it. So, and by nature, I think Bounty Hunt is a bit about hiding.
Yeah, if you track a boss in general, you want to make sure that you take your time and look for stuff. I know. Oh yeah, that's something lighting related, because a lot of people said that the lighting, for example, during E3, the original showcase was very different. Mm-hmm. What exactly has changed, or that people might say is different, or?
Basically, it became somewhat brighter. So we're talking about night.
I think it was just.
We just showed the
mainly
night.
night,
I think,
yeah.
And we made it brighter because we realized, okay, if you don't use your flashlight, you're lost. You can't see anything. Yeah. So our previous idea is that, okay, you have to play it with a flashlight. Every time you turn it on, it kind of exposes you, it puts you in danger, but on the other hand, it was difficult to come up with the perfect solution, because we don't have a contrast or brightness slider yet, so but that will come into the game. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell when yet.
Okay.
But so basically it became brighter so that you can even see something without a flashlight, and if you're standing in the middle of the swamps in the shadows, that you at least see a bush in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. How to get out of there.
Yeah, and basically for that we also tweaked for when we implemented the night into Lawson Delta. Mm-hmm. We also did some tweaks on the grading, so made it a bit more desaturated, because it just was fitting the whole night theme better.
So that's unique to the Lawson Delta, right?
No, that's a story.
Okay.
So that's also for Stillwater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So someone asked if we plan to add more interactable items on the map, is that more your thing? I assume that's more like not really level design.
It's more system design, right? So game design system. Obviously, we have to provide options in order to propagate them in a useful way, right? We need the items where it makes sense. So having the two-handed weapon next to a door or stuff like that. But the items itself are more on the system design side.
So they're the ones that think about where to place the items.
You always can come up with ideas, right? That's not the point. But I mean, from the implementation point of view, that's more on their side. But so something else popping up regarding the boss arenas, having a bit more on the outdoor. That's maybe not such a bad idea, right? I think he mentioned the crypt of Blanchett Graves. So I mean, we obviously changed something on the boss pits for Lawson already, right? In Stillwater Bayou, we had a couple of boss pits underground. So
where we added the additional.
Exactly. Now everything is a bit more vertical, a bit higher, more elevated positions. Maybe for the next map, there are some options. Maybe we will see.
Maybe.
Okay. But because like, is that something? Because I know that a lot of people often say like, oh yeah, someone was camping the boss, because they're obviously in compounds. Like, is that like one of the more challenging things then to figure out? Because you want it to be in a building, or you want it to be in a compound rather, most of the times that are unique, but that also means that you have to be in that building so someone can be waiting there, and it's hard to see from the outside.
I think in terms of defending the space, right, you're banishing side, so it helps, having a bit of a safe spot, you can control, right, let's say it like that. So, but as an interceptor, obviously that's, I think, maybe a bit tricky sometimes. So it's I think you have to find the balance there for both, for the interceptor and for the defender.
Yeah. Let me see if there are some more questions. I know a lot of people ask questions that are not for today, because not a lot of people have a lot of questions. Like we are doing optimization still for this patch. So 5.0 will have optimization and bug fixes and all the shebang. And there will be a special AI also for 5.0, which is not a boss. Don't worry, there's still a boss coming. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I literally think it's a boss, but it's not the boss yet. But the boss is also still coming. So we got both the new AI and the boss. Let me see. Do you guys have any questions left for our light and level designer? Otherwise, we will have to call off. You look like Jamie Oliver.
What? Okay.
You don't know Jamie Oliver? He's like the chef.
It's Valentine's Day, huh?
Oh no, the light is going on.
Oh yeah. By the way, I forgot to mention that the skies are back. So with 5.0.
The skies are back?
The skies are back.
Where were the skies? What did you do to them?
I think some people have noticed that there were no clouds anymore anywhere, and
I did see that someone mentioned that there were no clouds.
Okay, yeah, so they're back with 5.0. We had some
the clouds are back.
Technical difficulties, and but they'll be back in 5.0.
So do they use the same technique as like the rolling like mist, for example, like fog with clouds, or is it different? Because they're technically
no, they're static.
Oh, they're static.
So it's classic sky dome, so you have a static sky.
So what was wrong with them? I'm curious.
Some code related things.
Okay.
So it was not that I said, okay, I don't want any clouds anymore, and just delete them. And so
I don't like clouds. Get rid of them.
Pretty happy with them, but now we had some difficulty, but now that is fixed.
Awesome.
And yeah, I mean we're work in progress game at the moment, so there are sometimes things that happen. So
okay. Yeah, I don't really see any more questions right now. Obviously, not anything we can answer right now, because I know a lot of people are like, well, dynamic weather, I think that's something we've answered a while back. Like, it's something we want, but it's very hard to make.
It's difficult. There are also some technical issues that we would need to come up, like the thing with the interior lighting, that we would have to create some workflows. So that would take a lot of time, and but it's something that we also consider, like a dynamic time of day change. But I
definitely a lot
can't
of work.
promise anything. So
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is in it, especially because you have to adjust it. Yeah, no, I think in the past, like I remember, I think it was Stefan that said like we're something that we really want, but it's so much work that at the moment we'd rather focus on like new time of days and stuff like that because they're easily. I think it's the same for like the dynamic weapon, like dirt system. But yeah. Let me see. If I don't see any more last questions, then I think that was it for today. So next week we'll be focused on the new AI. What it is, can't say yet. It is a new AI. It is something along the lines of a armored or hive or meathead. So that kind of AI. It's no boss yet. The boss is coming still, not for 5.0. And in the meantime, I would say check out the roadmap to see what else is coming for 5.0. Obviously, there's still performance updates, there's still bug fixes and all the likes. And thank you so much, Lars and Sven, for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, we hope to see you guys next week. Well, I mean, you guys won't be here, but we'll have Dennis most likely. So he'll be talking with you guys. And then we hope you guys have a great rest of your week and weekend. And I'm just gonna go around because I'm also the one that has to tear it up.
Okay.
She's
Thanks,
gone.
guys.
It was a pleasure.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.